Today, standing up for science. But I'm here to introduce our next speaker, Nancy Kanwisher, professor at MIT. But before I do that, why me? Why am I doing this? Well, Elon Musk has been asking people, what 5 things did you do last week to justify your existence before he fires you? So I asked myself, well, what have I done last week? What have I done to stand up for science and push back against these attacks? And so one thing that I did was to reach out to the organizers of this rally and to connect them to Nancy and recommend Nancy as a speaker, Nancy Kanwisher. So it's an honor to introduce her. She is a giant in the field of neuroscience. She has made pioneering discoveries about the human brain. She is also a great educator, not only of MIT students, but of the public. She has fantastic videos about how your brain works. Everybody should be interested in that, and they are freely available online. And then, most importantly, she has a terrific track record as a mentor. She has trained many young scientists in her lab who have gone on to successful careers both here in the United States and around the world. And that tradition of mentorship, that transmission of knowledge across the generations, that is the future of science, and that is something that we should all stand up for. So thank you, Nancy, for being here today. Professor Nancy Kanwisher.
Can you hear me? Thank you, Charles. And thank you all for coming out today to stand up for science. Science has been an integral part of the idea of America since its founding. The openness to new ideas, free exploration, and commitment to reason and objectivity. Indeed, the greatest leaders of this country since Benjamin Franklin have demonstrated an unshakable commitment to science, weaving it into the fabric of the American experiment, enabling us to attract the very most talented people, irrespective of their social origins, to do their very best science right here in the United States. The idea that science charts a path to sustaining life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is so fundamental that for this government to turn its back on science is tantamount to turning its back on the idea of America itself. Science is not an elite activity for privileged people. It is the end result of a process that starts in elementary school, is supported by middle school teachers, high school teachers, children's museums, science museums, and after-school programs. Science welcomes anyone motivated to discover how the universe works and how we can harness this understanding to help people. Some of the very best work in my lab has been done by veterans, immigrants, and people who grew up below the poverty line. These people become scientists, not for the money, believe me, but for the opportunity to do important work in the service of all humanity. Our science has eradicated diseases, increased life expectancy, and driven economic prosperity. In my own lab, we have discovered parts of the brain that have regions specialized for crucial cognitive functions, like recognizing faces or places, or understanding speech or language, or even thinking about what other people are thinking. And most recently, I and my colleagues are using tools from AI to understand how these brain circuits work and how they can break. This is strictly basic research, but it can and will have clinical applications. When you or a loved one is hit with a stroke or a tumor that affects these cognitive functions, it is one of these brain circuits that's being damaged. And that is how basic research works. We learn fundamental things about nature before we can build on that understanding to solve medical and technical problems. In a similar vein, it was basic research that led to the invention of the computer, the internet, iPhones, electric cars, GPS, Ozempic, microchips, flu shots, and MRI machines. All of this basic research was funded by the US government. But right now, our global leadership in science is being dismantled by our own government. Labs are being shut down, graduate programs downsized, and the most promising young scientists are suddenly considering alternate career paths. My own grant proposal, which was scheduled for review last week, was not reviewed, and it's not clear how long my lab can go on. This ongoing and shockingly rapid destruction of American science harms not just scientists like me and my students and many of you. It violates the core values shared by all Americans. From medical research that saves lives, to technological innovation that powers our economy, to fundamental discoveries about the origins of the universe and the workings of the human brain that enrich our understanding of ourselves and our world. The destruction of American science will not be temporary, but will take decades to reverse. You can't just fire everyone and then rehire as needed. Time-sensitive experiments will have been wrecked, people will have moved on, and a generation of scientists will be lost. Our institutions, from universities to private foundations, are running scared. That means it's on us to stop the destruction of our science. I ask that each of you reach out with any levers of power you have, whether that be friends in red states or influential business and thought leaders you may know, to demand that our government, first, reverse the firings at the great scientific institutions of this country, NSF, NIH, CDC, and NOAA. Second, restore the normal grant review and funding process that has powered American innovation and prosperity in this country for nearly a century. Third, recognize that American universities are the envy of the world. Stop targeting them and start championing them. When we betray our commitment to learning and education, we undercut the foundations of our republic, the engine of our economy, and the future of our children. We stand here in solidarity, not just with other scientists, but with the thousands of federal workers who provide care for veterans, maintain our national parks, keep aviation safe, inform us about pandemics, forecast hurricanes, floods, and tsunamis, and protect us from predatory business practices. These people, motivated by a simple desire to serve society, have been vilified and fired, wrecking not just their own livelihoods, but the many things that made this country great, and indeed the things that enable it to function at all. So let's work together to restore our democracy and a government that believes in science in the service of all humanity.